Welcome to the turntable with Ari Styles, D Money, and Shiki on Active FM, where radio has never been better.
And yes, I'm Aristyles. And this is the turntable where we get you turned and keep you learned.
And I'm D Money, and we'll be bringing you the facts and playing you the tracks. So today we got another great show coming up titled No Cash Limit. So the reason for No Cash Limit is we're going to be discussing two record labels, No Limit and
Cash Money.
Cash Money. So we're going to kick it
Would
off.
you okay before you even start, can I correct you? But it's not any Maneo, it's any Maneo.
Okay, Officer Ari, of words.
Tomato. You
Alright.
struggle to say half the stuff half the time. Now you corrected me with a little thing.
Okay, so we're going to kick it off with No Limit Records. So No Limit Records, founded by Master P.
Make him say,
No limit. It started back in '91.
Yeah. Yeah, so he basically began his career distributing records
Independently.
independently by through a small California Bay Area record label, No Limit Record Shop, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a label at that point.
Yeah, it was a record shop.
Yeah.
And then after signing Oakland rapper Dangerous Dame, who released the EP Escape from the Mental Ward through No Limit, he began working with New Orleans-based talent, right?
No, because that's where he was from.
Yeah, so then he moved to, he moved to New Orleans, back to New Orleans, and that's when it started. Then from 95 to 99, he, like I said, he moved in 95. He moved to New Orleans. Then where he signed, through member Big Ed, King George, Kelly G, and later on he
Brought
he
Snoop
signed
from Death Row.
Yeah, later on he signed Mystical.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That's the going to that. Okay.
Yeah, he still he's
Mystical is probably the biggest artist they had on No Limit.
yeah, and basically he had a distribution deal with Priority Records, right? He just also to speak on that Priority Records. One of his attorneys, he was supposed to get a 1 million deal with Interscope Jimmy Iovine, but one of his attorneys said no, don't go with Interscope. Let's work out a deal with Priority Records, and by him doing that, he basically had rights to his own masters, and he had basically full.
What made No Limit and Cash Money legendary labels and like innovators, and basically people afterwards tried to get those type of deals that they weren't able to do, was they actually had an 80-20 split. So they were getting 80% of what they made back versus the label only getting 20%. That's never done before, never heard of, and that's the type of deal that he structured, and he obviously had ownership of everything, which at that point in time was completely unheard of.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what that he signed Mystical. Later on, when Snoop tried to leave Death Row, I believe him and Mac 10 were gonna do a dust record. That's how it happened. A dust record
Album.
towards a dust album towards Death Row, and then Master P spoke to Snoop and said, "No, come to No Limit," and that's
I
Snoop
became a
went
No
on.
Limit soldier.
Yeah.
And before that also, but on the label as they were coming up, Master P was one of the main artists of the label. Like they were known
Himself,
for
yeah.
putting a lot of
Music
strong-
out.
Yeah, a lot of tracks, like
Yeah, a
20
lot of
track
albums, yeah.
albums, 20
Yeah.
tracks on
20
the
tracks,
album.
yeah.
The highest year I think was of albums was in '98 when they
98.
released 23 albums in 1 year.
No, it's 35.
Regardless of the number, they were basically responsible for 80% of all black music put out that year. That's how much money they made that year. They were responsible for 80% of all black music and of all income just in 1 year.
Yeah. So basically, as you were saying now, he had what you say 23 albums, some say 35. But
You know,
in 1 year-
this is something that we can go check.
Yeah.
This is not a debate that we have to
Yes,
have.
it's not a debate.
This is a fact that we can go check. It can be Googled. It's Googleable.
Yeah. But what I searched, it's here 35 albums.
Yeah, I know it's something
In a year.
ridiculous because they said
Yeah.
he had 80%. And you must understand that's 98. That's the year Big Pun, DMX, Nori, Cameron, all of them came out, and he still controlled 80% of all black music that came out that year.
Yeah. So that
Now,
98.
granted, the quality of the music, on the other hand,
Yeah.
we can all discuss how pathetic it was.
Okay, yeah, but in that year, yeah, okay. That okay, so stand corrected. That year 98 was 23, but there was 1 year they did 35 as well. So 23 albums there you correct in 98, right? 10 of which went platinum, 11 gold, right? Masterpiece own LP that year reached number 1 in the Billboard 200 after moving 495,000 copies in the first week, right?
That's a lot.
Yes.
500,000 first week.
Yeah, almost 500,000.
With the lead single saying, make him say, ah! He sound like he's in the toilet.
Yeah.
And then Snoop's album also dropped. That was what was the name of that album?
The game is meant to be sold, not to be told.
Yeah.
So that was also at the time one of the most selling, or the highest selling album of No Limit.
Yeah, and they had Mystical on there with what, back their ass up and things like that.
Yeah.
So
No,
it is-
that's Juvenile. You told you pick it is.
Oh yeah, that's Juvie.
Yeah,
that's on the
that's
other
true.
label.
That's
Which
true,
one
no.
Mystical had? Because Mystical had a hit. A few.
Watch yourself.
That's the one.
Yeah, and okay, Danger came out in 2000. But yeah, so in 2000, so no limit. And by 99, Masterpiece started venturing into movies, started venturing into basketball. He also went to play basketball.
That's what the kids will know him now, probably
yeah.
through his son. What's his son's name?
Lil Romeo.
And didn't they
Yeah.
have that series on TV or something like that
Huh?
with him and his son?
I think so, yeah.
So that's how people probably know him, because
Yeah.
his music has not stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Let's just be real about that.
But when you're talking about platinum, I was giving you the numbers of the
Yeah,
platinum.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
they moved units.
Yeah, they moved units. Yeah.
But
So
then 99 as well is when a lot of artists started like moving out of the label. He had some
Yeah.
disputes with them.
disputes, yeah.
From
One Mysticals, I know of Mysticals, the dispute with C Murder, who was
Masterpiece, brother.
Masterpiece brother. So Mystical was C Murder's girlfriend at that time was Monica. So he was busy with Monica at that time, and so
Be
Master
specific,
P-
it's Monica from Brandy and Monica,
Yeah,
the boy is
yeah.
mine.
So
So the boy was.
yeah. So Master
They were singing
yeah.
the girl is mine.
So Master P took it because Master P at that time he never used to test people on records. He used to let
Didn't
them
have the
go.
ability to.
So he used to go and used to be like rough him up. In the
Just to make him
streets.
say,
In the streets, yeah. So he used to get people to. So that's how Mystical left. No Limit.
and then a lot of artists as well, like up until from 99 to about 2003. But Snoop did his 3 albums, or 3 years. He had a 3-year
Yeah.
deal, and yeah. So once
they
he
started
left,
leaving.
Yeah.
then they did go down in 2003.
2003, yes.
That's when they did file for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
People mustn't forget how the deal that they did and the structure that they had basically changed the game for lots of people coming in there afterwards. It was unheard of. Secondly, it was valued at that point in time something like 450 million. So they were on par on what Death Row and things were doing. So they were quite big. That can't be overlooked.
Yeah.
They did sign from after Priority. They did move.
They moved to Universal Records for a 10 million distribution deal, right? After signing with Universal Records, he changed it. He changed the name. He renamed it from No Limit to the new No Limit, right? And that's when he included. That's where Lil Romeo comes in.
Oh, okay,
That's
son.
where he signs his son.
There were 1 or 2 hits he had.
Yeah.
Little Romy looking for a homie.
Yeah.
I hope he got someone else and his father to write for him, because otherwise he's so
Yeah.
make him
So
say,
then. Yeah.
Little Romy.
it's worse. I don't know what's worse.
So the
You may remember him also from the movie Honey.
oh yeah,
Romeo.
He was the dancing boy.
the dancing boy. Yeah.
No one paid attention to him. in
Yeah,
that
it's-
movie. We know why we watched that movie.
Yeah. So as we said, down the limit when it came to 99 to 2001, it started going on a decline. As I'm saying, because I feel what Super Master P was focusing more on
The movies
other
and
the
so
movies
forth.
and
Yeah,
everything,
he had a
yeah.
whole lot of things going on.
Yeah.
He was an innovator with one of them putting out independent movies made through the label. He signed sports like athletes and things like that. What Rock Nation is doing now, he was doing in the 90s, early 2000s. Granted, whether it worked or not is irrelevant. Always the first one that walks through the door is the first one to take the shot.
So pioneer in the game,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, then in 2004 between 2000 from 2004 to 2005, the new No Limit issued albums by Master P, Slick the Shocker, C
Silk
Murder,
the Shocker.
Silk the Shocker, sorry, C Murder, Lil Romeo, and True, right? And then in 2005, Master P establishes a new label called Kata Music.
Just back to Silk the Shocker. If we don't include all this little pumps, all those people that are mumble rappers,
Yeah.
SoundCloud era, that are not exactly rappers,
Yeah.
if we don't include them as rappers, right?
Yeah.
Because if we do, they would be the worst rappers ever.
Yeah.
But if we don't include them in there, because they're not exactly rapping, then Silk the Shocker would be number one worst rapper ever. Pathetic.
Okay.
He's your number one on
He's
the
up there.
He's on your list
He's
on the
up there.
bad list.
He's
with
bad.
Tekashi.
whack rappers.
No, I'm
Okay.
saying if you don't include those type of Tekashi as rappers, because then if you do, then he'll be like number 12 or 13. All of them will go first.
I think we need a show on just whack rappers.
Yeah.
No, remember Afro Man made a song.
Afro Man was good. Oh yeah. I thought you were putting him in the
Okay.
list.
So I think that's
That's the limit or no limit.
That's the limit or no limit. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to Cash
We're
Money.
going to Cash
Well,
Money.
Cash Money story directly comes from the low limit story.
Yeah. So again, okay. Now we're going to talk about Cash Money Records. Also started in founded in 91 by the
Let us
brothers.
establish the background first. They were both from New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah.
Birdman, Baby, all
Yeah.
terrible names, and Master P.
Yeah.
But they were from areas within the environment that did not get along.
Yeah.
So automatically there was tension and issues between them.
I was going to come to it.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to establish. that
Established,
as
yeah.
it builds.
So they were founded by the brothers Ronald Slum Williams and Brian Birdman Williams, right? The label.
And I used to kiss Lil Wayne in the mouth. There's pictures. This is Googleable.
He was a little baby.
He was an adult when they were doing that also.
Okay, so
Baby
now.
Wayne.
Yeah,
Anyway,
breaking off.
you may
Yeah.
continue.
Little
la-
Ari Wayne.
Yeah. So the label was distributed through first by Republic, right? Republic, which used to be Universal Republic, right? From there, they got their attorney again. I think these two guys, they were wise. They had wise
Well,
attorneys.
prior to them getting those deals,
Yeah.
Birdman came to Master P
Yeah.
to get Cash Money distributed through No
No
Limit.
Limit, yeah.
And just even though it would have been a good business deal, or whether he believed in him or not, just because of that's why I said I wanted to establish that
Yeah.
in the beginning, just because of the issues, he
Yeah.
declined to do it.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that they come from areas where they don't like each other. So he wanted to be distributed initially through
No.
No Limit.
No
So
Limit.
No Limit would have been in priority. Cash Money would have been distributed through No Limit, then through priority.
Yeah.
So they ended up getting distributed through
Universal Music, yeah.
And they did the deal like how
But they
Master
did
P
what
did
they
the 80
actually-
20 as well.
No, they did a 70-30.
70-30, yeah.
Actually-
Still, yeah.
And then
Yeah,
then it moved to 85%, from 70-30 to 85%, where they own their own masters.
And they gotten something like 30 million.
30
for it.
million for per year.
No, it was for the deal, and it was like 2 million advance per year
Yeah.
and 1.5 million per artist,
Yeah, up to 6 artists.
up to 6 artists.
Up to 6 artists, right? So, but their deal started in 98. So between 91, say 91 to 98, right? No Limit was running.
Yeah. So
Right.
Cash Money was putting out independent records.
They were putting out independent records. They were doing, but they were basically doing it in the underground, right?
Kissing in the mouth.
Yeah, they had Lil Wayne. they
I'm
had
just gonna keep
Juvenile.
quiet. I'm just not gonna
BG.
speak on all of those things. Just keep quiet. So they in '96 they signed basically Lil Wayne, BG, Juvenile,
Turk.
Whole-
Hot
Turk.
Boy Turk.
yeah,
Hot,
and
which eventually
it
became
Hot
Hot
Boys.
Boys.
Yeah. So
Well, not Juvie. Juvie was a solo artist.
Cash Money's first success was under Universal, which was in '98, right? It's
Mhm.
'98 as well. But Juvenile's album released 400 Degrees. The album peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Top 200. So '98 was a big year.
Now you
in
see,
hip-hop.
speaking at number 9, people might think it's not as good as it was, but you need to think about who came out that year, the albums that came out, and if you can remember, those records were smash hits from Juvie.
Right?
So he's now felon because he's old. He can't be a
Yeah.
juvenile anymore.
so
He's inmate.
Yeah.
So because of that album, right, it basically solidified Cash Money as a powerhouse label in the national hip hop scene right? The album featured guest appearances from Turk, Lil Wayne, PG, Baby, which is Birdman, Manny Fresh, their in-house producer.
Which created the Cash Money sound.
Yeah, Hot Boys, Big Timers, as well as a guest appearance from Jay-Z, right? Which was the first time an East Coast rapper collaborated with Cash Money. Remember at that time, because of the sound, that's why they
It
had
didn't
only
break
one.
through as yet.
They didn't want. They had only Manny Fresh because they didn't want to collab with other artists at the time because they were afraid to say, okay, now we allowing people to come in, they're gonna come and steal ours, basically steal our sound.
Yeah, and also with them being able to rap on different types of beats, they didn't have the ability yet. They were still building up.
Yeah. Right.
And Jay-Z actually helped them on the East Coast to get a buzz.
Yeah.
Well, Jay wasn't that big at that point in time, so they would have helped him move.
Vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a mutual agreement.
Mutual. Yeah. Then in '99, the Hot Boys Guerrilla Warfare got released. PG's Chopper City in the Ghetto. Lil Wayne's The Block Is Hot. So people think Lil Wayne. They only know out of Lil Wayne with the Carter 3.
When he started blowing up, Carter 2 like 06, 07.
Yeah, but mainstream Carter 3.
Now prior to that, even though all those albums are platinum and things, you could have been a platinum selling artist at that point and still be regarded as an underground artist or a flop. So he was moving units prior to blowing up, but he wasn't the Lil Wayne that everyone knew.
Yeah. So then the Juveniles single, Baghdad, what you said now was Mystical. No, it was 19 in the Billboard Hot 100. PG's Bling Bling, it was 36.
It's coined the whole term, bling bling.
Yeah. The Hot Boys, I Need a Hot Girl. It was 65.
They never needed Baby's hot lips.
Right. So then between 2000 and 2012,
everyone left the label. Besides Wayne. Yeah. So
before that they actually did blow up, like in the late 2000s when they signed Drake.
Yeah,
that's prior to that. I'm saying like before Wayne's major run.
Yeah.
Everyone else left. PG, Hot Boy, all the Hot Boys, Juvie, all of them left. And then Wayne basically was the only artist that had Cash Money on his back.
Yeah.
Like he was the only one.
So
and he was putting out a slew of mixtapes and platinum albums before he became came in after the 50 Cent run.
Yeah. So in 2007, Lil Wayne was named president of Cash Money and CEO of Young Money Entertainment. Right. That's when
YMCMB comes in.
Yeah, that's where YMCMB comes in. That's when Lil Wayne gets Drake.
Before that, he signs Currency, a few other people, and then Drake and Nicki. And that's their whole second run, which is Cash Money, Young Money.
Yeah. So then in 2008, Cash Money releases a track from Kevin Rudolph, Let It Rock, which featured Lil Wayne, right? And then in 2008, they signed Jay Sean. Remember Jay Sean?
The Indian singer, yeah.
Yeah, the Indian singer, yeah. Then in 2009,
he had some hits also to that.
Yeah, boy. In 2009, Freeway from was previously from Rockefeller, right? Signed to Freeway, and in 2009 also Bow Wow signs to Cash Money.
That didn't work.
Records, right? In 2009 as well. That's when Nicki Minaj comes in, right? There's a lot of labels that was fighting for a signature, right? Battling for a signature. She ended up.
Young Money.
Yeah, with Young Money, right? But she got signed to Young Money. Yeah. That's when. Then in 2010 they get Drake. Then
two of the biggest artists of the last however many years, and Drake arguably one of the biggest artists of all time.
Yeah.
Was on it.
That's very arguably.
No. I'm not. We don't like him, but if you put the numbers up,
he is. Yeah, because in the last decade.
I hate him.
In the last decade. In the last decade, they did say he's the one of the biggest artists. The last.
And
decade.
she's arguably one of right there is one of the biggest as well.
And in 2010, the production group Cool and Dre signed with Cash Money, right?
They do a lot of Fat Joe stuff, Lean Back, all the way up, all
and Hate It or Love It also.
Hate It or Love It as well, yeah.
But then Birdman signs DJ Khaled to the label, and also signing his label We The Best Music Group, which is a subsidiary of Cash Money, right? In 2012, Cash Money Records also signs Limp Bizkit. Because at that time, between 2009, that's when Cash Money was,
Blowing up.
blowing up.
So
Big,
they basically, like 50 says this all the time, they were able to stick around for a whole nother run. They were doing well from the late 90s to the early 2000s.
2000 and
After that, everybody left. Wayne needed just one artist,
Yeah.
and he wasn't the Lil Wayne we all know today. And then coming
from 2008.
2009 upwards, they were on top again with Wayne, the biggest artist in the world, Drake and Nicki, the biggest artist in the world, and they were putting out compilation albums. Birdman had that Rich Gang with you, so they were able to
Yeah.
stick around for another run and run another decade.
Yeah, and then in 2013, basically, that's where Rich Gang comes. That he changes what's it called. He releases a compilation mixtape called Cash Money, and what Cash Money and Young Money
But it doesn't
entitled
pay anybody.
entitled Rich Gangs, right? Rich Gang. Yeah. So basically, that's about.
You don't Cash Money. People know who they are because of the Wayne and all of them.
Yeah.
And then Birdman kissing him in his mouth. So people know who they are, so you don't have to go too deep. The
Yeah.
only thing with it is, if you think about it, right, Wayne been around since 98. As one of the biggest rappers of all time, signed two of the biggest acts of all time.
Yeah.
He should be on the level of a Jay-Z or Puff or one of that,
Mm.
but unfortunately because of Cash Money's business practices,
Yeah. So
he's not able
yeah.
to
So in
reach those levels.
so in 2014, before the Carter 5 was supposed to be released,
Uh-huh.
he had a dispute with Birdman, right?
On non-payment. A lot
Yeah,
of the
out
artists
of
said
non-payment.
they
Yeah.
dispute.
So he
Producers,
filed
artists,
a
everybody.
lawsuit against and then he signs to Jay-Z's title.
Okay.
So his album gets released via
Anyway,
title.
for those of you listening who don't know who Birdman is, just please Google him and then Google Tony Braxton and tell me how this happened. That is my
It's
question.
because the man spent 1 million on a toilet, a gold toilet.
He don't pay any of his artists. The man, the biggest money maker left. So rather give him that million, he would stay.
Oh,
But
he
my
was a
question
toilet.
is, listen, the Jay-Z and Beyonce people look at it like, I'm like, alright. But look at him and look at Tony.
Okay.
I can see the offense.
But who was he
It's
kissing
gone.
more in the mouth, Lil Wayne or Tony Braxton? That's my question.
Okay. So we're gonna.
Who
we'll
got
just-
more kisses, Wayne or Tony?
I do not understand what you said. I'm just gonna keep it quiet like that. Keep it simple and plain. But that's Cash Money for you, yeah. Yeah, they still have a few
They're
artists.
still running.
They're still running. They still have a few artists.
But you must know the
Um,
biggest artists have left. Drake
yeah.
got off the label.
They still have a few
Wayne
artists.
got off the label.
Yeah, they still have a few artists like Moses, Jacquees, Juvenile. They still have. I don't know Juvenile.
He went back,
resigns,
but
he went
nothing's
back.
gonna happen with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's also like in like in January 2015, that's when Lil Wayne filed
File for divorce. 51 million. Yeah. File for divorce.
Filed for divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
51, 51 million.
It's a
yeah.
lawsuit, not divorce. File for divorce. Yeah.
And then
It's a lawsuit. Change the word from divorce to lawsuit.
Still, 51 million. If you think about what he's done as an individual and then who he's brought in, he should be on a different stratosphere right
Yeah.
now. He should be held in that regard. He should have that type of money. Unfortunate reality, I was too concerned with getting paid in kisses.
Okay. Let's leave it like it. Moving
but
forward.
like also just on Cash Money, they are one of the most sustained labels and one of the biggest, I think, of all time.
I think because of the artists they have, so they name value, because of them screaming YMCMB in all
Yeah.
of the
The run
records.
they had as
Yeah,
well,
so in
the
two
money
runs.
and the
Yeah.
money they made.
Yeah,
That-
so in
that he
20
made, no one else made
in
it.
27, Birdman accepts a plaque of honor for Cash Money Records because they sold 1 billion units.
Nobody got paid of it though.
Okay. Let's move forward.
Okay, so today we're gonna be focusing, our artist that we're focusing on is called Andy. What's it, Ari?
Maneo.
Maneo. So he was an artist born in 1988. He's an American Christian hip-hop artist, producer, music executive, and video director based in New York. He's also signed to Reach Records. So he also has done, like, he's collaborated with the 116 Click. So with him, he started off also in high school. He joined a hip-hop group called Fat Camp. They were signed to a university label.
Was Rick Ross in the Fat Camp? He should have went to Fat Camp.
Yeah, so him after, so with us after like he graduated college. Along with Leonard, joined the rap group that was called Fat Camp, and then they did opening acts for Jadakiss, The Roots, and Common, as well as members of the underground scene like Immortal, Technique, and Dead Prez. From there, they did. That's when he stopped. Like he felt after moving to New York, he realized his weak spiritual condition, and so he rededicated his life to Christ and closed down his production studio in order to restart his career. So he did independently release his first mixtape called Sin Is Whack in 2009.
Yeah. And his discography goes now from I only see 2 albums, which is Heroes for Sale in 2013, Under Reach Records, and Uncomfortable in 2015. Also under Reach Records.
So he did join Reach Records in 2011, and then he did actually change his stage name. So he was actually first called Sea Light, and now he goes by his government name.
Not D-Light, but
And then so I think at the moment he's one of the top artists in the hip hop scene.
Yeah, you can say top 5.
In the top 5.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of hits. Anything you like to add on?
I think that's it. I think people must just go listen to Andy Maneo.
Yes.
Do you know what time it is?
Is it about that time?
It's about that time. It's this past week in hip hop history. Okay, so MC Shen born September 6, 1965.
yeah, no, MC Shen is go back to our KRS-One versus MC Shen episode. What was the name of it?
The Bridge.
The bridge is over or something like that. Something with bridge.
Eazy-E born 7 September 1963.
Go back to our NWA episode.
Cannabis releases debut album September 1998.
Go back to our LL Cool J episode.
Jay-Z releases 11 studio album, The Blueprint 3.
It's crap, don't worry about it.
It's not September 2009. It's not. Please don't. It's a good album. MOP releases single Anti-Up September 2000.
Record.
Big Daddy Kane born September 10th, 1968.
I don't know if we've gone in depth with him, but we shall.
We've spoken on Big Daddy Kane.
Jay-Z releases 6th album, The Blueprint.
The first one,
yeah.
Great album.
September 2001. Right?
September 11, that album actually dropped on the day the towers fell.
Yeah. Kanye West releases 3rd studio album, Graduation, September 11, 2007. 50 Cent releases Curtis.
Yeah, we know. Go on.
September 11, 2007. Buzzy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony was born September 12, 1976. MC Light released her 2nd album, Eyes on This, September 1989. September 94. Notorious B.I.G. releases debut album, Ready to Die. Tupac passed away September 13th, 1996. Rest in peace to the legend. As you can see, I'm wearing him right here.
Just like every other week.
Not every other week.
It's just a different version of it.
Old Dirty Bastard released the 2nd and final studio album.
Said ODB, but anyway.
Ninja Please, September 99. LL Cool J releases 4th album, Mama Said Knock You Out, September 1990. Nas was born 14 September 1973.
Important day.
Kid Cudi releases debut studio album, Man on the Moon, End of the Day, September 2009.
Regard to that, he changed the sound for a while there.
Sugar Hill Gang released the song Rapper's Delight, September 1979. Nori was born 1977. Okay, and then Mac Miller passed away September 7th. Said that the 7th September Tupac gets shot. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air debuts on NBC September 1990. Nas releases Made You Look September 2002. 106 in Park debuts on September 11, September 2000. Ludacris was born 11 September 1977. Fabulous releases Ghetto Fabulous, his debut album, 2001 September. 2 Chainz, September 12th 1977, he was born. Okay. Lil Mama crushes Jay-Z set in September 2009. Kanye West, September 13th 2009, what's it called? Kanye West grabs the mic off that was Taylor Swift.
Yeah, you had to do it to a little girl.
That was a funny incident. September 14 to 2010, Kendrick Lamar releases Overly Dedicated. That is his 5th mixtape. Okay. Mac 10 releases based on a true story, his album, 1997 September. Busta Rhymes, September 1997, Busta Rhymes releases When Disaster Strikes. September 2003, DMX releases Grand Champ. Little C's, okay, that's about it.
You went all out on the song.
Yeah.
Speaking hip-hop history.
That's past week hip hop. It's September, guys. Okay, anyway.
So clearly September is a historical month. So anyway, that was our show. The turntable. What are styles of D-Money and Shiki?
Now, why do you say it like it? It's the turntable with Aristal, Shiki, and D-Money. And remember, we keep you learned and get you turned.
He wanted to change his voice.
Yeah, I was
to sound
stretching
like
while
you.
I said it.
Okay.
Yeah, but hope you enjoy the show. We're gonna end it off with the verse, which comes from Psalms 27 verse 14. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and take heart, and wait for the Lord. So we just went through a whole show, and I just gotta mention this before we end it. Ari has not mentioned Eminem at all in this whole show. It's a legendary week in hip hop history.
Hip hop history. But I mentioned 50 Cent, so it's cool.